Well, hey there, everyone, and welcome to Energy Gal. My name is Lisa. I'm a transformation doula, and I am so thankful to have you here in this space. It's my heart to explain, because I've got a very logical brain. I want to explain what it is that is happening when we are using these different pieces of instrument to create a space. What is that doing? What is the purpose behind it? It's awesome. It's great, it's great music. It's awesome background noise. But what is it really doing? Because too many people are coming to the group guided meditations and group sound baths, both online and in person, and saying something shifted in me. So what is happening? So just really briefly, let me explain to you what it is that's happening and the benefits of using sound and music for medicine. Say when you're a little kid and you're growing up, you get tuned in to a particular frequency. It's like a radio station that you listen to all the time. It's background noise, you don't even know it's there. It is the atmosphere that you grew up in, and it has a certain frequency. There are certain thought patterns and paradigms and belief systems that you grew up in. And what happened is that your physical body calibrated to those thought patterns, paradigms, relationship ways of being, okay? And this became your bedrock, the way that things are, like a fish swimming in the ocean. You didn't even know that the water was there. You're swimming around in it. It's your everyday. It's your normal. So say perchance your body is normalized to disappointment. What if when you were a kid, enough things happened, or you were around parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, friends, extended family, what have you, that were very tuned into disappointment. And so they became used to this frequency of disappointment, drama, frustration, trying hard, but things don't manifest. Victimhood mentality, lack, always trying so hard to try to make things happen. You calibrate then at that frequency, okay? As you age, as you come into adulthood, you don't realize that that is the frequency of your body. That's home. That's the normal. That's what feels comfortable because that's what's always been. Then you start to awaken to the fact that there is a different way of being, that maybe you are not a victim. It's just a way that you've been thinking, that you could actually live a full and happy, joyful life, and you don't even have to try as hard as you thought you did. Maybe you don't need to stay in relationships that are abusive, and you thought, well, I thought that that's all the way the relationships were, and my part was to be the doormat. You start to awaken to this different way of being, but here's what happens. Your body becomes very uncomfortable in that because it's not used to feeling that frequency. And now all of a sudden it thinks, hey, there's something wrong. And it tries to go back to the way that it was. The other thing that happens is because your body is tuning into that particular frequency of disappointment, lack, having to work hard to make things happen, drama, because it is buzzing at that frequency, that is what it's attracting to itself, which then reinforces, oh, yep, see, there's another disappointment, there's another bad relationship. There's another having to work really hard to try to make ends meet. And it is this vicious cycle. You're already buzzing that way unconsciously because you grew up in that atmosphere. Now those things are drawn towards you. That confirms that that's reality, that's the way that it is. And so you continue to think that way, which continues the physical body buzzing at that frequency, settling itself into that frequency, and you thinking that's reality, that's normal, that's my only choice. And as you start to wake up to realizing there are other choices, there are other ways of being, it starts to feel uncomfortable, sets off some fear, because the body's going, hold on, that can't be right, that can't be right. Because it's different than the way you grew up. So here's what my advice would be. Sit with the discomfort. This is just uncomfortable for my body. And I'm understanding that my body is freaking out because it's experiencing a new normal, a new frequency, and I'm allowing it. And I'm welcoming everything that's happening, including the fear. And my body doesn't know how to handle this. My body is like, what the heck is going on? And my thought patterns are going, hold on here a second. We're the victim. We like drama. We're always searching for the next disappointment. And you don't even realize you're doing this. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm talking about myself. This is what's been happening to me lately. You know, that full moon in Capricorn that we had yesterday made me start to, for whatever reason, things really started to bubble up. That the reason I'm trying so hard to make things happen, but things aren't happening and I self-sabotage is because my body is still very familiar with this frequency of being disappointed. Trying really hard, but in the end, it's really never going to work for me. I'm really not going to get what it is that I want because it's just the way it always has been for me. Poor me. When I realized that was my thought pattern, and it was a gradual until all of a sudden I was like, hold on here a second. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Oh, I don't know if I want to partner with that thought anymore. I don't ask myself, is that thought true? Because it seems to be true. But what I will say is, do I want to partner with that thought? Do I want to partner with the fact that I can try really hard to do this, but eventually it'll just fail anyway, and I'll somehow self-sabotage? I can partner with that, but I don't want to anymore. I choose not to. And just not partnering with the thought then changes the frequency of my body because I'm not thinking that thought anymore. I'm doing something different, and I find myself now in a different reality. Something different is happening. It's like jump a timeline. I don't know what you want to call it, but my reality has shifted. I'm trying to think if I could give a specific example. Here's a specific example. Now we're getting personal, but you know what? That's what I do here. I can't do anything else but the real deal. So all of my life, for as long as I can ever remember, I look back on all of my journals, and I've got this one consistent thing, and it's like, well, I wish I could lose those last 10 pounds. I wish I could lose those last 10 pounds. And it doesn't matter what weight. I could be 143 or I could be 128. And I always wanted to lose those last 10 pounds. And it didn't matter what weight I was. So it hadn't to do the fact that there was a number I was trying to go towards for health. It was this thought pattern I was always stuck in. I've always got to lose another 10 pounds. I've always got to lose another 10 pounds. But it didn't matter what weight I was. Something woke me up. I don't know. The stars were in alignment. I was ready to hear it. Who knows? I couldn't tell you. Enough sound that changed my frequencies on a consistent basis, enough guided meditations that I stayed in the frequency of more awareness of what I'm thinking. And I began to journal if I could just lose those last 10 pounds. And I went, hold on here a second. I'm actually lighter weight than I've been in a while. How come it's not, I want to lose the last 4 pounds? Why is it always 10 pounds? It's always the same 10 pounds, regardless of what my weight is. And it became obvious to me. Now, it was obvious to my husband our entire 40 years that we've known each other. It became obvious to me last week. So I started thinking, do I want to partner with that thought anymore? Because what would happen is I would start on, I'm going to have a diet or a way of working out or what have you. And because I was not conscious of the way that my body held on to this feeling of the reason I had to lose 10 pounds was to prove I was good enough for people in my life who, for whatever reason, they wanted me thin. So my quest was, if I lost 10 pounds, I'd be able to make so-and-so love me. Well, it became to the point where losing 10 pounds was just a way of being, and it had nothing to do with people loving me. It was a mantra I've heard for so long inside myself that it was just about losing 10 pounds, losing 10 pounds, losing 10 pounds. But it really wasn't about losing 10 pounds. It was about being absolutely futile in my actions. I would do things that would produce no fruit. It was frustrating to me. It was all about just this frustration. Because, by the way, I lost those 10 pounds I don't know how many times, and the people didn't love me anyway, or at least not in the way that I needed them to, wanted them to. So I equated this losing 10 pounds with this futile effort. But it was so ingrained in me, the pain was so ingrained as to be subconscious. I didn't even realize it was there until it was ready to show itself. And I'm on the treadmill running, and I'm thinking, okay, if I just run this many miles, maybe I could lose those 10 pounds. And I thought, hold on, what did I just say? Why am I trying to lose 10 pounds? It was almost like a something I was doing, and I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just something I did. I just get up and I try to lose 10 pounds. I just get up and I try to lose 10 pounds. There wasn't really any end goal or weight or reason. It was just, I've just got to lose 10 pounds. I got to keep being a failure at this. I got to keep disappointing myself. I don't even know if I'm explaining this correctly or wisely or succinctly or in a way that can be understood, because it's so beyond understanding in some ways. But I just know that ultimately I felt so free when I thought, is it really that I want to lose 10 pounds? Or is it that I want to come into a place of loving myself, regardless of what other people think about me? And not just the people out there, but more like mom, dad, the original peeps. And was I finally ready to hug the little girl that was sad because she didn't get mom and dad to love her in the way that she desired way back when? Was I ready to see that little girl and love her and hug her and tell her, you are so perfect just the way that you are, and they're hurting, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that happened, but I love you. And you can now see that it isn't about you. Their pain and their heartache kept them from loving you, had nothing to do with you. So crawl up in my lap and let me rock you and let me love you. You know what it is? I know. This is all too coincidental. You know what it was? I started babysitting. I call her my granddaughter because she's my son's best friends. And I've known this young boy forever. But this young boy who's my son's best friend was kind of like one of my kids. And I started babysitting his daughter. She's a brand new baby girl. And I spent all day long with her, and I just loved her. And I started imagining, what would it be like to love myself in the same way that I love this little girl? And then all this other stuff came up, and I started realizing, wow, it is possible to love me and to not be on this incessant quest, futility quest, to lose 10 pounds so that I'm good enough for mom and dad. It wasn't about the 10 pounds. It never has been. It was about a bunch of hurt people, hurting people. And somehow I got in the way. Some of the shit got splashed on me. And the thing is that now it's on me to wash myself off. And it's possible. It's not fatal. And it doesn't have to be passed down to my children. And that's the thing that's just so beautiful, is that when we do our own work, it affects so dramatically the following generations, but also because we're outside of time, when we do this work, it does affect previous generations too. Everybody gets healed when we heal. Everybody gets healed when we heal. So, I think that I want you to know that when it came to being healed of this futility, this insanity of trying to lose 10 pounds, which happened but then didn't happen and wasn't about that. It wasn't about me going to therapy and trying to explain it all and try to figure it out. It really was me seeing it and then saying, I don't want to partner with that anymore. And I just want to love whatever comes up. I want to love the good and the bad and the ugly of all of it. I want to show compassion to each player in the game. Because I've splashed my own shit on people, and I would hope that there would be a grace for me until I woke up to remembering who I am and not partnering anymore with the vibration of unworthiness and lack and self-loathing that caused me to hurt other people. So compassion and grace all around. Where is it? Like when sin abounds, grace much more abounds. When we've missed the mark of remembering who we are as God. As little God particles bumping up against each other. When we have forgotten that, then there is grace much more abounding to insulate us, to protect us, to help us remember, discover, wake up, so that then we can be who we really are. I can tell you that walking around not thinking like I woke up this morning and my first thought wasn't, I gotta lose those 10 pounds. I gotta lose those 10 pounds. The thought isn't there. It's pretty profound to not partner with that anymore. And then what I do for me is that I let all of the sound, I'm pointing to all off camera, I've got so many sound instruments around, and I let the sound and the vibration, the frequency just pull me in. Like I don't even have to do anything. It's like Nemo being pulled into the current. That's what this is. That's what Edgar Cayce meant when he said sound and music will be the medicine of the future. We've arrived at the future. Sound and music is the medicine of now. Of unwinding deep down into the DNA, things that have been encoded for generations, and now they can be unwound and recoded, and Homo luminous birthed among us. How exciting is that? Hey, thanks for listening, and if you have any comments, I would love a conversation around this, because this is just stuff that's bubbling up from within me and my own experiences, and I'd be so curious as to what it is that you're experiencing in your neck of the woods, so to speak. I'm also available for one-on-one vibrational sound therapy appointments. Check my website. And available for group sound meditations. I host them myself, as well as I'm happy to come to you to host them at your retreat or your event. So check out my website for that. In the meantime, I hope that this has been an encouragement to you, maybe shined a little bit of light, stirred some embers within of remembrance. And I wish you so much health and so much peace. Take care, everyone.